right, everybody, welcome to the stream. Of course, we are probably not feeling too bad today. We've got a nice level coming in here, 4,600 being hit and then instantly rejected by the market ahead of the FOMC meeting. Not bad, not bad. Pretty in line with what we've been talking about here. So let's just have a quick look at the actual market itself and think about where we're hitting. So here's the 50 fib. This is obviously the pullback that we were talking about. Let's just quickly grab that. Here is the level, 4,600, pretty much smashes it, 4,605-ish, hits instant buying. Let's have a look at the buying on the 5-minute because this is the 15-minute. This is going to be where the interest really is. And yeah, it's not too bad. I don't know why that just repriced like this one, but anyway. Yeah, like little double bottom. Very nice. So we've got slight base here ahead of the FOMC, probably an overreaction completely by the market. You get that kind of nice instant gap underneath, which sets up for the day. Of course, it goes down, up, and then sells off into the 4,600. So should we be concerned, guys? Look, we probably expect the market to recover back to around this 4,660, 4,670. Anyone get down here on these levels? Anyone feel pretty good about that zone? I think it's exactly where you expect to see the buyers come back in, previous resistances, previous support over here on the left-hand side, and certainly a zone of interest. Now, the Nasdaq, as we mentioned, is going to do its own thing a little bit, and that is because we have to watch the S&P 500 as the lead. But yeah, I mean, it's down. It may look bad, but I don't think it's necessarily that bad. Eric says, encouraged that SPY seems to be bouncing back. Yeah, look, I mean, and it's not bouncing back just a little softly. You know, this is getting buyers. You can tell the buyers are coming back in. Look at them go. The close is probably going to end somewhere around here. It's going to look like some form of, well, does anyone know in the community? What does this look like? Let's say it closes like this. We'll read some comments coming in. Finkin79 says, F's in the chat for Hood. What's happened to Hood? Let's have a look at that soon. We'll check that out. Twitter holds so nicely. Fair enough. And Mike Cox gets it correct. Hammer. That's right. Yeah. A hammer, or some people call it a pin bar. A Hamari, says music. A Hamari. Thank you very much for joining us for the close stream. Of course, we will be talking about everything to do with the markets today and our expectations. But look, this is what we hoped for. It filled the gap. It filled a lot of the problems that we saw with that initial rally. It's come back down ahead of the FOMC. Now, is this market predicting or, you know, having some kind of premonition about what the FOMC is doing, or is it just having the volatility ahead of the event itself? It's like that buy the rumor, sell the fact. Maybe the rumor itself is scarier than the fact in the FOMC. If we go underneath this 4,600 level, this is it. You know, this is a serious level now. We know this. We've seen the rebound. Hopefully it holds around this zone into the close. We still have 23 minutes to find out whether it can or not. So we'll find out very, very soon. But yeah, if it does hold up like it is right now, and then you see the FOMC and you get a daily close underneath here, where are we going, guys? Well, it's a high chance we go and we retest the 4,500. That will not be ideal. And in fact, I think that's when the bears are almost getting some of their control back, because you're getting back down to this level, the 4,500 at that stage. Underneath here, 4,500 becomes open. All of a sudden, you're talking about double tops. You're talking about a pretty serious level, because we know it's the weekly 20. And I tell you what, wowzers, that would be bad. So if it did happen like this, you close underneath here, okay, 4,500. If 4,500 didn't hold, DT is in. Not good. Not good. Because once you get underneath here, you've broken the weekly 20 moving average. And guess what? That is the first time since the pandemic started, okay? Since this whole 2020 crash even began. That'll be the first time we break a serious level. Keep watching the SPX. It's going to be the biggest tell for us in the markets. So some other things that are interesting in the markets today. If you've noticed, IWM, while it is still weak, has been less weak than the rest of the markets. It's come down to that 213, found buyers around this zone, and then started moving up a little bit here. So again, is it all markets that are getting thrashed? Not necessarily, because we have seen some buying positions in this market. It's only down 0.47, whereas the US 500 was down a lot more. Obviously, the Nasdaq was down the most, and then the US 30, the Dow, down only 0.2%. So it's not all markets are equal. And I might bring that up just to illustrate it for everybody here, that it is not every market moving in the same way. Let's refresh this right now. Okay. Consumer discretionary continues to be the belted sector, which is consistent with December. One of the weakest readings usually you get in the months. Now, sorry, this is not the one I want. That's month to date. Let me just get this. There we go. All right, here we go. We got the right one. All right, so XLK down the most, went down as high as this at one stage. So technology down the most, consumer discretionary here, not doing so well, but the financials actually holding up 0.84%, maybe predicting possibly some discussion about the interest rates. XLP, consumer, the staples still holding up, and then the rest kind of just floating around, negligible losses on those. It's really about tech today, and then the financials actually breaking through to the top side. So much, much better there. All right, let's see what everybody says here. Fed chart is good for check. What would you buy? What's good technically? Well, I mean, technically the market is good. The S&P 500, there's nothing wrong with that one. That is a fairly decent technical, sitting around 4,600. Rip the Tesla bears. Ha ha ha. Well, let's have a look at what happened with Tesla today. So Tesla went down a little bit here, 931, and it's rallied since then to fill back up, 962. I wouldn't say rip the Tesla bears necessarily. I mean, this is only one day in many. But yes, the buyers have come back in to support the price. Obviously, some people would have started selling it today or sold it yesterday. Anyone that started selling underneath 1,000, they're still going to be up. And anyone that sold today, I mean, most people do expect 900. I'm sure that's the common conception out there. I don't really watch other people, but I assume that most people see this and they're going, okay, here. We'll have to find out whether that still occurs. I mean, being a bear in the market is not easy. It is not something that I find to be, I guess you would say, the easiest trade or the easiest thing to do. It's not something I would recommend to beginners. It certainly is not. Is Square a buy now? We'll check out that soon. There is no fear of the Fed, lol. It's a bunch of crap. Says can't BS Dave. Yeah, look, you're pretty much right. The market will do what the market feels like doing regardless. There are sometimes black swan events, but you are correct. In most generalized terms, these are used as excuses to action a move that is probably already going to happen by the algorithms, by Wall Street, by those types of positions. Absolutely. AMC's done 6% today. The wonders never cease. Okay, but does it really, again, do we really care about AMC doing 6% today? I mean, how many people are really buying this price here and then hoping it goes up? There'll be so many people burnt by this going down. So AMC and GME are totally different scenarios. And I think GME, the reason why it found support is, well, it actually was finding support. AMC, however, yeah, not so sure. All right, let's go through some of these markets right now. So we've got the Nasdaq down at quite a lot. It's now rebounded. The S&P 500 will be the key here. But if we want to look at the weakness in the Nasdaq, you can see it has been weaker, down 4.16%, almost coming straight back down to the previous price. US 500, however, holding the zone at 4,600 for anyone that's just joining us. That's a very important closure there for it. We'll be watching the SPX fairly closely into the close. So it had a rally then that just went straight up. And where this closes is fairly key. I mean, we had it looking like this just a few minutes ago, and now it's changed. So it's weakened slightly coming in. 16 minutes to go on that one. So we'll come back to it. IWM still holding one of the better market indexes today, or indices today. and DXY obviously going up and breaching through. So if we check this DXY, this daily is fairly significant for it. It's been trapped in a range. A lot of people not looking at the DXY at the moment. It's slamming out of that range. So if we actually go down to something like a 2 hour or 4 hour, look at this. First 4 hour closure outside of our top range that we brought up. So this is fairly significant. It's kind of pointing towards the dollar index having another rally on it. That might be kind of poor for gold. I mean, gold is not doing well today. Silver obviously getting belted around as well. And the DXY is often seen as a hedge in some ways, and also probably more pointing towards the interest rate decision of the FOMC. What are they going to do with their rate hikes? What guidance are they going to give us? So we know the DXY moved in the first place due to interest rate hikes coming in 2022. We saw the Bloomberg terminal go to 3 interest rates, a possibility of a third. They always had 2 times priced in when they started pricing it in, but they priced in a third. So I think a third might be the new discussion point for 2022 after the statement, and that's why it's starting to breach out early. But it is going early ahead of the event itself. Gary Saeed says, lol, rip markets. Tom, how likely is it for markets to rip past the R2 and go to other R levels? Very unlikely. So he's talking about the pivot levels here. And if we go to the SPX, again, bring it up on our chart, the discussion here is about the monthly R2 here, so the 4,800. They don't usually go past very easily. So yeah, I would say unlikely would be the scenario. You can go back over to the left and find out how often it actually does go back past the monthly R2s. I mean, during a pandemic pickup, you might breach it sometimes, but in general, see if it even held around here. There's a monthly R2, didn't get past it. Monthly R2 held around it. Monthly R1 held around it. There's an R3 getting hit. And of course, during the V-shaped recovery, we're going to hit a few monthly R3s. But in general, no. R3 is a resistance that you do not expect to be beating down from a market perspective. Justin Sands, 420. Can you have a look at Wire stock, how it's doing on the TA? Thank you very much, Justin Sands. We'll check it out very soon. SPY is giving us indecision close for us. Well, we'll have to find out. There's still 14 minutes. Anything can happen. Probably a good example of, he says no more hammer, a good example of why you've got to wait for the close, because you can make a prediction on, oh, it looks like this right now. Is it going to look like that at the end of the day? So right now it looks like a long leg doji. I mean, it's very important, this close. You know, where it closes can dictate a lot. I mean, clearly, you know, for bulls to really get back in control, they're just going to move it ahead of this market high after the FOMC statement and then start slamming it back into the resistance. And clearly we know that we've now got a 4,600. We breached that. Most likely next step's 4,500. So we're getting a lot of data today, actually. This is helping us quite a lot. Justin Sands, we'll do yours now. Let's go for the Wire stock here. This is Encore Wire Corporation. Says, can we have a look at it on the TA side? Sure. Let's bring it up. Let's have a look what's going on. So here is the current rally. This stock is 2.58 billion. I don't really love things that rally so ridiculously. I mean, it's obviously had a good announcement or something like that. It's been very, very strong now for a few months. And it's pulling back. It's uncharacteristically high. So the question then is, what happens with the fundamentals that caused it to get over here? So you've got your earnings. It rallied heavily off that. The previous earnings. So it's hit a bit of a growth ramp kind of acceleration. We're on a daily 50. What was the weekly? Weekly 20s here. Ooh, 4 hour. Okay. 2 hour. I mean, yeah, it might be forming a little bit of a base here. I mean, you've tested it 3 times. You've gone down, false broken to below the low, and then rejected it. Problem is, where's your resistance that really triggers your ability to buy? Is it 132? Is it 136? It is finding support. We know it's a daily 50. Probably some fib of the pullback as well. But I would be looking at that 132 level fairly closely. I'd also do a little bit of fundamental data on this stock if you wanted to buy it, because it's not really what I would call a stellar trade. It's more of a, do you want to buy this dip and are you interested in holding this stock long term? It's not what I would call a stellar trade. But yeah, 132 is the level you want to breach initially. And then once you get through 136, which is previous supports and resistance, this loan here should be able to get you to 148. So closure above here, very big deal. Closure above here begins the repair process. Very good. Thank you very much for the donation. Tom, what's the R1, the expected move? The R1's already been hit, Mazal. So the R1's already been hit. Koa says, Tom, is this pullback not exactly what we were discussing on the channel last week about the rapid recovery? We expect to fill the gap and then strong recovery into the end of the year. That is correct. Yeah, that's why I'm not overly concerned. I mean, look, obviously the FOMC statement can be some, I don't know, trigger event that causes further weakness. But in general, it is not in their best interest to do that. They don't usually do that. I mean, how many FOMC press conferences have you guys seen? How many of them actually turn out to be fizzles? Let's ask the community. How many, what do you think usually happens at the FOMC press conference? Does it go up or does it go down? We'll ask the community right now. See what you guys think. Gold, 1770, nothing cool here. Didn't breach, even now 1793. It's come back down. Dollar index being so strong, really putting pressure back on this one. So gold, lackluster to say the least. We'll do the crypto markets right after the close. So obviously we've got 9 minutes here to the close. Let's look through some stocks and then we'll do the commodities and crypto straight after that. So the market has pulled back slightly here from the recovery, but we'll check it out later. We've got Square here right on support. A few people asked about this one. Is Square a buy? Well, it depends whether you're an investor or a trader. Trader, no. Investor, it's on a support. Is that support super heavy and super good? Well, this is not exactly the candle you want to see. What is this? It's like weakening underneath the previous supports. That's not cool. So for me, probably not enough. But if it goes back up, maybe gets above that wick, shows the first sign of at least some strength. And then, of course, if we get through this level here, we'll be double bottoming. And that will be where traders really come in and say, okay, let's enter that participation and get excited about Square once again. It is on an investor support, but I don't like that candle. I don't know why that's sitting there. Let's see what your thoughts were about the FOMC stuff. Generally, people say it's poor influence, nothing much, says Nada. Rob talks finance, says up. Papa Powell all day with the dollar bags, double then up. Last one. Aren't 70% positive over the last year? That would be absolutely correct, Koa. Something like that type of stat. Flat, up, 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 usually bullish, lol. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of fear coming into this one, but it's filled the gap. It's come down to the correct zone. The question now becomes, will it do what it usually does, which is be a bit of a fizzle? And George actually probably says, before we read Michael's one here, says, Papa loves the stock market. He won't let anyone harm it. That's right. The Papa Powell doesn't want the capitalistic stock market to go down. Come on. He doesn't want that right now. Michael Cox, $4.99, took a poor position in LAC. Also massive Head and Shoulders, SPLK. Also thinking about shorting MTCH. So quite a few stocks here. We'll check them out in just a second, Michael. Thank you for your support. Let's go through some more of these kind of common stocks that we need to look at. Apple, big run on it. Not sure if I'm won over by any of these prices anymore. Traders, I mean, you can see here currently a long leg doji, probably similar to the SPX. Looking for it to come back to the daily 20 for my liking. I mean, that's where it's been bouncing off kind of recently. It's had a nice rally. Get back down would be what I'm looking for. Though, even price-wise, I think it's getting kind of expensive. You'll notice that the volume went up heavily due to all those options that started getting opened on the bull side. So yeah, that's what happened there. Amazon's holding firm around that 33.40 previous low. It's actually rallying better than the rest of the market at this stage. So it really doesn't want to get underneath this. And we've talked about why we don't want that underneath that zone. End phase back at 200. Okay, it's an interesting level. So we're back finally to a zone that we've highlighted a few times here. End phase, obviously part of the solar tan. Tan is down. And we've seen a bounce here today through the session. $200, or what is this? 193.75. Now trading at 200. So end phase is down from the top to the bottom around 30.91%. Okay, let's have a look at NVIDIA. Then we'll do Michael's one. NVIDIA holding very well considering. Tried to get under that daily 50. It's going to close right around the daily 50, it looks like. So that is not a break below, guys. When it gaps underneath and buys back into it, that is not considered a break. Very important factor there. Also, look at the volume. It's still remained quite high recently. So a lot of transactions going on. Huge amounts of transactions going on. Wow, just holding up. Doing pretty well considering. Let's have a look at Michael's one. So he's bought LAC, Lithium Americas Corp. Oh, that looks like a damn Head and Shoulders. Does that not look like a Head and Shoulders, guys? Oh my goodness, look at the shoulders. That's pretty clear. Damn. Yeah, these lithium stocks, they always are known for these nice bulls, and then busts. That's why I usually stay clear of them unless I'm in some kind of moving average momentum style play. Here is horizontal. You can see that it's a Head and Shoulders. Let's have a look at what it looks like in a 4 hour. Yeah, it's pretty clearly on support, and it needs to hold this. For you to feel good about this, you need lightning bolt up and then obviously break the 36. Now, you said he took a poor position in this one. I'm not sure where that is. But yeah, you really want it to hold up here. Unfortunately, that is the Head and Shoulders. And while it may not complete and go down as much as the Head and Shoulders says, it has to hold this neckline. So, Michael, that's my thoughts on LAC. You said SPLK has a Head and Shoulders on it. Oh, like you're talking like some giant time frame, I guess. Here, and here. I don't think so, because what you're basically saying is that you want the stock to go from here all the way down to negative $10. So I think he means this one. So I think he means left head and right. What I would actually say is it looks like it's forming a little double bottom down here, similar to a lot of these tech stocks right now. We've got some clear levels coming up. This is going to be some exciting times if the markets do turn, because these stocks here, like you're getting nice supports and you breach that 120 and all of a sudden you're going to be in a very cool area of a nice double bottom. And that's going to be similar to Square. It's going to be similar to many stocks out there. So they're all coming in like this. So that's how I would look at it at the moment. We're on a low. If you want to first get a little bit frisky, you're looking for it to breach above some of these resistance points, little long leg doji here today. So you're looking for it to close above these. And then as it gets through 121, that's when, you give it the tick of, okay, we've found a base. And hopefully the volume is also improved there. And the only other one you're looking at selling was MTCH, which is Match Group. Look at this on the weekly quickly. Yeah, fair enough. I understand why. Massive channel, breach through, retest already. Probably should have already shorted if you were going to. It is hard to short companies. Remember, it's not easy to short in the stock market, guys. It's easier to buy. But you are correct. This is correct analysis. And your distance you're going for is something like this one here. So you'd be going for the whole channel. We've obviously priced this up before. And you'd be looking for it to go back down to 92, which proves well with previous resistance. And also a weekly 200, which it has hit before. Nice. Not bad at all, Michael. That one's not too bad. Tough, but not too bad. Michael Cox 199. Puts for LAC, lol. Definitely shorting. Well, I'm not sure why it's a poor position. it looks okay. I mean, you're probably taking it early, but if you get through that head and shoulders, then yeah, you've done well there, Michael. So hopefully it does break down then for you. Thanks for the $1.99. All right, guys, let's get into these last. We've got what, 2 minutes, 1 minute for the S&P 500 to close. We need that SPX up here. We need that NDX action because we need to see where these close and how they close. All right, so here we go. We're on the daily. Let's get that weekly up. So 1 minute, T minus 1 minute. Gap, long leg doji for Nasdaq. And it looks like we're going to get a long leg doji for S&P 500. Here's the bell. We're coming in right now. Weakness a little bit, but still a little rally there near the end. I mean, it went up slightly. So long leg doji. Here we go. All right, it's locked in time. So that's what we've got. Indecision into the FOMC. 4,600 now, key support here for the bulls. That's where they want to hold it through this whole entire, meeting, whatever you want to call it, statement. We've got a clear sign of where we get more bullish again on it. I think this is not a bad day for the markets, while everyone else is probably sitting there going, oh, this is the worst thing ever. I'm not sure if it's the worst thing ever. It came back down to the 50 fib. It came back down to the previous resistances, which can act as support. It rallied a little bit off that, and then a slight sell-off into the end. So let's have a look at the 5-minute chart just to get a bit of an idea of what Wall Street did. So they pushed it up hard near the close, created a bit of a base. Big volumes came through here as well in the last little bit. So you can see they were positioning, then sold off, and then actually a small rally just in that last 5 minutes. So not too bad. Healthy retest. Good Life says, what a doji. Yeah. A few people asking, is Barber good to go long? Well, Barber is scary as hell. Monica says, all the great apes who made the chat for great free overview. Mash the likes. Thank you very much, Monica. And yes, it's looking too much. It's looking a little bit better. People really love this Barber, don't they? Durgesh, $1.99. Hi, Tom. Can we please look at Barber? Sure, we can look at Barber. All right, guys. The story of the day. The 4,600 is hit. The gap is filled. And we move towards the FOMC now with indecision on the market. How fun, hey? Don't you just love indecision? 46 support, resistance, breach, good sign, breach underneath, the bear, the nasty bear. 4,500's next. And of course, you breach underneath that. Well, then we all have to go towards the bearish side at that point and say, okay, well, we better come back in a little while. Do we expect that? Not really. We don't expect that, but anything can happen. That's the problem. US 10-year is up 1.55. Let's have a look at Barber. Bring Barber on the chart here. Okay. Daily. All right. Whoa. Is this the first time Barber's looked okay in a while? Let's have a look here. 1 month. Okay. So it's bounced off the 109. One now trading at 126. Still a scary stock, not for the faint-hearted, this one, guys. We might actually have a lightning bolt on the 1 hour. I'm sorry, on the daily coming through here. So this 130.50 area could be one of the first signs of actual recovery in Barber in a long time. God, it's a toughie. Because is that a good sign if it breaches through? The answer is yes, it is. Does it really kind of form a base idea? Absolutely. But you've always got the problem with the government on this one. And you also do have a fairly substantial downward trend kind of going on that's been going on for a long time. So you got to remember, you're trying to pick the base bottom on a stock that's very difficult to do so. I would think that's probably one of the better actions that we've seen in a while. And usually what you also want to do is have a look at how the volume's holding up around the base. So we noticed that the volume kind of has stayed relatively good all the way since it hit around that 168. So anywhere in here, there has been buyers of the barber. We then see that sell-off, which creates, of course, a volume spike. But in general, there has been buyers of the barber around here. Some deep value investing, I guess you would say. Yeah, lightning bolt coupled with breaking the daily 20 will be the big deal here. So right around that zone. Good luck. It's not for me, but some people may like it. Thank you for the $1.99. Michael Cox, $4.99. Question. So when is a good time to actually start getting a position for a trade? I always feel too late, but my TA is decent. So to give you an example, if we went back to your question, where was it? MTCH. For your match group, I mean, this is pretty simply right here. That candle right there, man. So what you would do here is you would look for your breach of the support. There's no way that you cannot see this as a closure underneath all the previous. So you probably scale here. So you would have a portion entered at this point towards the short, and then you see it come back up, and then it finds some rejection, and you would pretty much sell it on the close underneath that. So when it goes bearish on the rejection. So you'd have one scaled position here, and you'd have one scaled position here. So you'd be up in both right now. But yeah, they're the two entrance points you would take here. Take one, which is undeniably a close below, and then be looking for a conservative entry. Your conservative entry is there. Depends on whether you're trading or you're investing. Remember, if you're trading, you generally look for the confirmations. If you're investing, then you're just looking for levels, and you're buying those levels. The BTD movement, buy the dips, yeah? Those guys, they're just buying literal levels. So today, for an example, they would have looked at 4,600-ish area, and they would have just said, okay, cool, I like that area based on my analysis. Nothing wrong with that style, but they're more bag holding style. That's more of a bag holding style. A trader must wait for confirmation to allow them not to have to hold the bags. So hopefully that makes sense. PK Subban says, I'll buy Barber in the OTC when it gets delisted. Oh, fair enough. Will we take a look at crypto? Absolutely. We'll do that very soon. And Durgesh says, I'm holding Barber for a while now, hoping I get my capital back in it. I also hope you get your capital back in it, just like a lot of other people, Durgesh. So let's hope that lightning bolt actually comes through there. Muhammad Al-Masari says Barber has to go through the weekly 20 EMA and then you can say the bottom is in. That is the overall correctness, but we do have a nice first sign there, Muhammad, I would say. A nice first sign. And Diaz, $5. Hi, Tom, TA on you, please. All right, man, we'll do that. Abhiv, we've talked about Amazon just before. Oh, sorry, Abhinav. So you can just go back and have a quick look. Generally just holding the support at this stage. That's okay. It's good. It bounced off that zone. We'll check it out. Unity. All right. I didn't know Unity went to 200. Now, this has actually been pretty technical, I will say. We obviously liked it a lot over here. We had our targets for here, and I guess up here was our targets. Now, it ran further than that, which, you know, sometimes they do. But I haven't looked at it since we last checked it out here. All right, so it's come back down. It's bullish hammered. There's clearly some buying around here, which is kind of cool. Got a 2050 cross almost coming up on the 2050. Oh, it's kind of cool. It's like one of those ones that you would position in over time. So you have a nice support. You've obviously seen buying pressure come straight off that support. Then you've got a long leg doji. So you get a closure above 143. What would that mean? Well, you would think decision made, yeah? Bullishness ensuing. You've got big issues around this resistance, but if you breach this resistance and close above it, it's a big deal. I mean, that will get you into, you would think, getting back into the rally on the other side. What's this 4-hour look like? What's the 2-hour look like? Yeah, I probably like that plan the most. So get above these resistances, closure. You've got your bottom locked in at that point, you would think. Movement up, hit the resistance here. Obviously, you do expect weakness there. And then if it breaches through, happy days, smiley face for you. Because at that point, you've got a really nice locked in double bottom, which should allow you to get back near those highs. So interesting zones. Check that look at weekly. Weekly, big rejection. It's rejecting back against that this week. Yeah, critical point. Those dailies will be a big deal here. Mike Cox says, wow, okay, I think I've been looking at everything so wrong. Thank you for that. Well, I think you just need to focus on scaling. Or what you're doing is you're just waiting for, remember, traders wait for confirmation, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, and that's why it makes trading boring, actually. Often trading can be boring or seem boring when you're doing it correctly because you're waiting for confirmation. And investors just look at BTDs and basically they just look at key supports based on all the same things we're looking at. You can be using a very similar technical approach, being an investor or a trader. However, you're going to need to have different confirmations for the style. A trader really wants to get that participation area. They want to be part of the participation, that quick, sharp move that happens. And that's where patience occurs. Have you ever wondered why the market just suddenly starts ramping through a zone on a big blue chip stock? It breaches the zone and then goes bam, 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 and chunks a whole bunch of levels. It's because that's where the algorithms get in and we get that participation zone. So that's a huge deal there. All right, so look at BTC. It looks better since we've started the stream. Good work, guys. You held it up there, okay? You held it up there. So BTC is turning here a little bit. It's damn 47K zone, super annoying. You'll notice it's finding that daily 200 moving average. It's bouncing off it. Can we hold the line, guys? People are telling me, a lot of people are sending me this as a flag, and they're saying it's a flag. I don't see it as a flag, so we're not going to do that. A few people mentioned that to me. So we're not going to do that one. I don't really think it is. It's clearly a level of support. Doesn't really matter how you want to look at it. So here we're going to use a log chart just because we've started using that a little bit more on BTC. You'll notice the base. You'll notice this is the first resistance breakout. Finally, a little bit of action. Let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, good sign. Still early days in this candle, but good sign. Lots of buying, lots of wicks. Kind of a breach here. Previous resistance, breaching. Probably look at it on like a 15-minute. Then we move up and we want to breach this downward slope. So that's about 50K. So we'd like Bitcoin to get up to 50K now. Get past 50. And then we're so close to getting a really nice base on this. It's not far away, guys, if we can do it. Like imagine if we came back up and we went through this 52K. Do you know how good that base is going to be? It's going to be like every other base that we've seen. Base over here, tick, 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 tick. Look at the participation that occurs. And then, of course, we have that mega one that happened recently. And that was the huge, huge base that we had over here. And when that happened, look at the rally we got. Nice rally. That's what we want. We want nice rallies. So this one's theoretically, if we got through the 52K, which would be a big deal because you can see the resistance over there. Breaching the 50 as well. And you would hope big rally. Back up into these zones, at least to the 60. So I like it. I just want to see more action. More action, a little bit more movement to the bull side. It's a good first sign and we have these rejections, and look at it, it's going to slap them round. In 2 hours 45, if we close above it, what's this? What, you're in a shooting star rejection candle, long leg doji, decision made. Come on now. First step of good. I'll be happy. Let's do it. Come on, guys. We don't want no Bitcoin at 48K right now. We want Bitcoin at 60. Why not 60? We don't want the market at 4,600, really. Let's get the market to... Actually, no, I don't mind if the market chills. Market needs to chill. Maybe 4,800 by the end of the year. Let's go with that. Let's get some predictions in here from the chat. We've got 600 people here. What do you guys think the S&P 500 will be or Bitcoin will be by the end of the year? Give us your predictions. S&P 500 and Bitcoin. Got a big donation coming in here from Darren Jones. Let's give him a clap, guys. Thank you very much, Darren. Appreciate the support. Says, Tom, the stocks channel, I don't know who that is, says SPY 1 day, 1 week, 1 month looks bullish. But when I look at myself, I'm afraid of a triple top reversal at 470. What is your opinion? Do you think triple top reversal on SPY is possible? Yeah, anything's possible. I mean, obviously, you look at the SPX on the monthly here, and it's kind of hideous. I mean, you look at it, you wouldn't be saying, oh, I think it's so bullish looking. Let's check this out. Okay. So there's the monthly. It looks like a giant rejection, yeah? And then right now, well, it's still early in the month, so anything can happen. You're saying the 1 week and the 1 day all looks bullish. So the 1 week, certainly, it doesn't really look necessarily bullish, but what you're talking about is you've hit the 20 moving average and you've bounced off it. So there's no reason that the weekly currently is saying, oh, I'm feeling bearish. You're saying, can it be a triple top or double top? Absolutely. If you go back, Darren, to the start, we talked about it at the start of the stream. So this is where you're literally playing with fire here, because I'm going to get you 4,600. If you breach underneath that, where do we go? I mean, the next step is going to be 4,500. So you've got triple top, and then you've got closure underneath. So you close underneath this level. That's where it will be. It's very possible. But again, probable, not at this stage. And that's because generally the market's optimistic. Being bearish is hard, guys. You need really good confirmation to be bearish, and then you've got to be very fast, because it's not like it's going to stay down there for a long time. Thank you very much for the $20, man. RB2223, $4.99. Thoughts on the Ashes 5-0 going into Santa Rally, which has a higher upside, SPY or QQQ? So I assume you're talking about cricket there. I must admit, I don't follow cricket very much. I used to watch it a little bit, but 5-0, cool. That sounds good. We won or something, is that right? I don't even know. I haven't watched cricket since like Michael Hayden. Was it Michael Hayden or something? Matthew Hayden and the Shane Warnes and all those people in the Australian side. It's a while ago now, hey? When I was on the farm. That's when I used to watch it, on the farm. Which has higher upside, SPY or QQQ? Probably the QQQ, because the QQQ has been beaten more. But if you're going through all three indices, you'd say the IWM, the Russell 2000. Oh, sorry, 4 indices because the Dow. So the QQQ has higher upside because it's what it is. But I will say this, I think the QQQ is going to come into some problems around Feb March next year, just like it usually does around that period. Yeah, I'm pretty bad on the old cricket knowledge. All right, so we've got some Bitcoin and some S&P 500 or SPY predictions. We've got Mike saying 480, so that's 4,800. We've got 4,500 and 43K from CM, so that's 43K for BTC. And there we go. Abby says BTC $1 million. That's very, that's very high. BTC 75K for JBubs, so definitely looking at a very big next 15 days, 16 days. Hot Potato Trader 4,700 on the SPY. BTC 20K to 10K, somewhere like there. Wow, that's bearish there, J Mitter. But this is good. A lot of different ideas. That's the main thing. Chop City until January, says Peter. Then January is up. S&P to 48,000. I assume you mean 4,800. And BTC back to around 60K. So it seems like BTC is either getting 20K or it's getting something else. Avi says, give me my money back. Why? I answered your question. Your question is going into Santa Rally, which has higher upside. And I said QQQ. And then the Ashes, well, that was your own fault, Abby. Now, if you ask me a question about boxing or a question about MMA or a question about even some basketball, I might have an idea. But yeah. Thomas says, looking forward to the Aussie Tennis Open. Yeah, that'll be good if they come. If they come. Last year, I don't think they liked being here. So we'll see whether they come. US 500, guys, down 0.83%. The crypto market's definitely improving here across the board. Bitcoin trying to get above this 48K and holding it. We'll know that the fate of that in 2 hours and 39 minutes. Keep watching it, guys. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited. Ethereum 3844, definitely weaker on the charts. Again, you can see this base, how important this is. Look at the price action. Let's read this left-hand side. Long leg doji, bullish hammer, rejection weird wick thing. We've got all of this coming off this top, and that top is around 3880. But I think clearly we have seen in, again, we talked about it, a weakness in Ethereum versus the Bitcoin. And that's because the market stayed down longer than anyone expected. How is oil going? We'll check it out in a second. So yeah, Ethereum is not, look, the ETH-BTC, we need the older one. Where are we here? There we are. This one here. The ETH-BTC, it's coming back down to our trend line. So this is pretty much where, if Ethereum is going to get stronger again, it needs to do it here. The ratios. It's all about the ratios. There it is. So maybe watch ETH-BTC. Not bad, right on the zone. Now, a few people have pointed out something interesting about bonds, and I guess it's worthwhile discussing it with you guys here. I'm not going to go too much into it. Basically, we know that there's been a small spike in the 2-year and the short-dated bonds in general. Now, this is because the Fed has signaled to the idea of course, interest rate hikes. Now, the 10-year has not been doing too much, and a lot of people point to that as a classic case of we've got money moving into TLT to a degree, though I'd argue it's kind of come back out of there to a little bit. The 10-year is going up, but not as much. And this is because the short date effectively is a point where people believe there's going to be a short-term interest rate hike, and then long-term we're going into another recession. That's why the 10-year is there. I'm not sure if I fall into that category. Basically, I'll just go with, if we continue to see all of these, the 10-year, the 2-year, the 5-year, all of them start to spike up heavily, and the Fed hasn't got that under control, then we know inflation is getting away from the Fed. At this point, we are not seeing that. So we'll have to find out. We need more information. We need more information. Does anyone know how we sign up for mentoring / portfolio review? So I don't really review your portfolio so much, but I do have private mentoring as groups. You can do it just on fxevolution.com. It's pretty good. If there's anyone in here that's been doing the private mentoring, you guys can let everyone know if you enjoy it or not. It's a bit different to what we do on this channel. Obviously, the reality of trading and investing, it can be a little bit boring, but in the private mentoring, I break it down for why and where you want to do everything. So yeah, if you're interested in it, definitely you can check that out, NFL. And if anyone's in here that's doing it, you can obviously mention that to NFL and see what you think. Oil and Docusign, please. Yeah, let's check out Docu. Hell yeah. I'm going to cut the list, by the way, tomorrow. I'm going to get rid of a whole bunch and go in with some stuff that actually looks cool. Because there's a lot of trash in here. We don't like some of these things. Oh, PLTR. Oh, PLTR. What is PLTR doing? Terrible thing. So Docusign, is it cheap? I have long hated this company for the exact reasons that I've always said, which is I don't believe the moat is that good for a company that literally is signing paperwork and of course other things. But Kathy Wood loves it very much, and we are starting to see a bit of a base form here. So we've got that support that was found at 133 for whatever reason. We get that initial rally. Everyone probably jumps on board thinking it's all the gravy train. Everything's, it's going to come back. We're going to get to 220 very, very quickly. And then it sells straight back off and forms a base. So we know that our base structure is around that 160. A breach of 160 is a big deal to the bull side. We've got a bit of a low kind of sitting in here. And we obviously do not want it underneath 133 under any circumstances, as that will degrade it further. So not something we want to see going on there. We also want to take a look at the generalized volume. So the volume has dropped off, but it's still holding higher than it was. And you can kind of sometimes tell that not many people were necessarily interested in trading this for quite some time, because the volume has been pretty low for a substantial period, but definitely much higher over here. So there is a lot of transactions going on. This is much higher than it has been. And it's sticking. It seems to be sticking up a decent amount. So 160 key resistance, and then we've got the base. Can you explain ratios? So what I mean is just the ratios between all the different cryptos, the main ones. So that is ETH-BTC is like a portion. So let's say it might be a 0.001 ETH is equal to 0.00 whatever BTC. That ratio is important to understand, because in the crypto market, it's like a sea of everything kind of increases over time. And sometimes Bitcoin leads the charge. And then we get Cardano, we get Ethereum, we get Polkadot, we get Chainlink, we get all those other big coins following. The alts follow to reprice themselves up to the price of Bitcoin. Since Bitcoin moves first, the other coins reprice themselves. The way you tell when those coins are either overpriced to Bitcoin or whether they're underpriced to Bitcoin and therefore need to move up is often the ratios. So that's why you look at those. Hopefully that explains it to you, Gary. BTC down big right now. What do you made me look? You made me look, Rock. He's got that what is that, a Vegeta-y thing? Is that, I don't even know. Is that Vegeta or Gohan? Why can't I tell? It's been too long since I've seen it. Disney is making me sick, says Green Thoughts. Let's have a look at Disney, and then we'll check out that other one that we were meant to do, which was who had that comment that I liked both of their comments? Oh, oil. We need to look at oil. Okay, so Disney coming back down after going up a little bit here. 4 hour. It's not a very nice candle, is it? I actually don't mind the Disney around this price. It's right on support. You might say you're getting sick from it, but really, this is where you hope you get that little lightning bolt, maybe breach down. Where's the 15-minute chart? Yeah, something like that's probably what I would be doing as a day trader. I'd have a look, watch it closely. This is definitely a very big zone of interest because previous resistance could act as support. So zone of interest, and then I'd want it to breach past here to get me some participation. That's what I'd be looking for. Are you reading the chat? Just check BTC live now, please. Well, I thought I had BTC. Let me observe on my phone, because I think you're wasting my time, but that's okay. Go in there. Dude, I'm in Binance right now. It's all good, man. It's 48K. It's all good. All good. Christopher Collins, $9.99. Hey, Tom. Thank you very much, Christopher. Hey, Tom, I just want to know your thoughts on staking ETH on Coinbase. Just recently bought 10 for a very long-term investment. I want to earn the interest. Oh, don't we all? And I'm just paranoid about the risks they list. Yes. Oh, it's a very valid point, Christopher. It's a very valid point. Staking is tough, hey? because when you read it, you're like, okay. I always go with this idea of maybe when you stake, maybe a percentage might be better, like a percentage of your portfolio that you're willing to maybe put at risk. Let's see what the chat thinks about staking. What do you guys think about it? I mean, obviously it's a big part of the crypto market, but when you really look into it, you're like, okay, there's a lending here and it's not really backed in some ways. Sometimes it's a little bit risky. I always see everything as a risk, and therefore I would do a percentage, but that's up to you. I mean, you obviously have to make your own decision. I can't exactly tell you what to do, man. But percentage risk, certainly diversifying through that idea is probably best. We have seen in the past some go bust. Now, obviously, the bigger it is, the less likely it is. But the bigger it is, also usually the less rate you get. So you often get less rate, and you get higher rates with more questionable companies. So in this case, you're doing it on Coinbase, so probably be a lesser rate because it's such a big company. At least it's listed, so probably a bit safer there from that aspect. But we'll see what the chat thinks. Let's see what they think as well. Michael Cox, $4.99. Lol, okay, you just blew my mind. So AMTX right now with this close under support, I would scale in, then scale into bigger if it pops up. Seriously, thank you, by the way. Let's have a look at AMTX for you. So what do you mean big pop? Not too sure what you mean by this. So you would, if this close under support. Oh, you mean like the daily. Yeah. Okay, so this one here, a little bit different to the other one that you had. So the other one was no question. You couldn't question the fact that it broke underneath a key level. So say like over here, you have a break of a key level. There's the long leg doji that gets underneath like the previous supports. It's clearly support here. This one, you've got a literal bullish hammer, and then you've got a closure underneath the previous close. It makes it tougher. You could scale. This is a good case for scaling towards the short. Yes. You can't really go full order here because the problem is that you've got a low that hasn't been below. Your other example before was like a multiple touch support where it clearly had breached underneath. There was no ambiguity to it. It had done exactly as you thought, which is it gone underneath. When it goes underneath, what are you going to do? You're going to look to sell it. So yeah, that's the difference here. This one, we have some information where it has been lower and it's rebounded. So while the closure is underneath, yes, if you're looking to short it, that would be a first confirmation. You've got to focus on scaling. Got to focus on scaling because it's not enough information yet, even though it's moved very heavily. Your actual trade here was not here. Your trade was either here or like right on that when it breached through this low. This was fantastic. Yeah, it's good analysis though. You're clearly finding nice supports and resistances. Darren Jones, $5. Tom, do you think I'm being unrealistic for hoping AMC one day will have a wick hitting 26? No, I don't think you're being unrealistic. I just think that when you say wick hitting, oh, you mean it goes up and hits 26 and then sells back? Absolutely not. AMC will have plenty of resurgences, and it's currently seeing a bit of a resurgence, and the post-market and the next day might even resurge it back up into the 27, man. The problem with AMC and GME is that the big movement, that big kind of collective judgment, people have moved on, and you probably will never see the interest in it like you had over here. You won't have that everyone calling me, everyone speaking about it, everyone interested in it. You had people that don't even know what stocks are, don't even care what stocks are, throwing $100, $200, $300 against AMC just to stick it to the man. That's what they were doing. And that created a huge movement, which really, in essence, was a pretty amazing event. And it was phenomenal. I mean, what happened was phenomenal. You will have resurgences due to, of course, the communities out there getting back into it. But I don't think it's unrealistic. 2 hour here. Where is 26? Yeah, 20 moving average. And where's the daily 20? Well behind. It's had nice rallies in it in the past. So yeah, I could certainly see it. Yahoo has BTC at 32,402. Well, does anyone actually see this price anywhere else? Must be a bug, man. Apple stock widget also has BTC at 32,402. Yeah, I think like obviously it's a bug on the price. Unless somebody is seeing it, like check your Coinbase or something, guys. Just let us know. I assume it's just a bug. Webull at 48,343. Yeah. Same with Binance. I got the same. This actually happened to us a little while ago. Remember that day that Ethereum, we were live streaming and I saw Ethereum go under 1,000 on Kraken. We were using Kraken data. And I said, I got to mute the screen. I was so excited. I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind getting some of that. Didn't happen, did it? No, it's a lie. It went to about 1,300, not it was like 900 or something, if I remember rightly, on the Kraken chart. Someone here probably was there during the event. I see on Apple at 32K. Yeah. Seems like a fake price. 48K. Thank you very much, Tim Norton. All right, let's do US oil here quickly, but we will cover it in the recap video. So US oil continuing to kind of float around our zone. It's come down, actually given us the conservative entry, which is right here. And we haven't really got strong breakout or anything like that just yet. Looking for a closure. I'd ideally hope this rallies a little bit here. And then we get through 73. That'll be a big deal for oil. So we'll continue to watch oil at support. Currently, this is a very important zone for it to hold. Hopefully it can. And then if we get above 73, then of course the next zone, 75 and onwards, we would think. So it should be quite good. All right, guys, thank you so much for the 600-700 people that we had joining us today live. Obviously, I had thousands of people coming through, so I do appreciate your support. Smash that like button if you can. It does help us out. And we'll see you in the daily video coming up shortly, probably be a few hours away from now. Don't worry, Bitcoin's trading at 48K plus, so it's not 32 or whatever else these brackets are saying. And Rock, it's all good, okay? Check multiple resources. We can't trust these fake news streams, yeah? we need to always double check, because otherwise you might panic about stuff. Never take one price as gospel. It's why it pays maybe to have a couple of brokers as well, just so you've got your prices across the board. Plenty of opportunity in the stock market right now. There's a lot of value coming into certain stocks. We've got a lot of stocks at key supports as well. Most of these hyper stocks are kind of coming down to key supports. And even things like Net, this is one that no one would have believed, firstly, when we were talking about it heavily over here at 65, that would probably go to 220. But this is just a great example of what happens, guys. It goes into a bullish boom, and then it might have even a great earnings, which it did. But it's a ripoff, okay? It's a straight, absolute ripoff. Understand the fundamentals. This thing is a complete and utter ripoff at these prices up here. I love the company very much. Very much. Good company. I think it's even good. I think long-term, very, very nice. But this was stupid, and this is more reasonable, and actually more reasonable is probably around in this zone here. So I think we just need to always realize that these hyper stocks, the reason they're coming off so much is the market's finally repricing them correctly to a degree. And there are ways of figuring that out. And of course, macro trends, you can use that as a tool. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you later. And with the staking question, I think you just need to think about a percentage against the stake. And then from that point, you can work it out. Because it's not, the chat probably answered a few of those questions. But what we got here, staking stuff like ADA, not doing anything for years anyway, so might as well make money for it for you. Yes, but the question is whether the risk of staking is there. And I think that's one of the important components. So staking, I believe, does have inherent risks. What you need to really think about is when you're staking, if you go into an epic crash, similar to what happened after 2017, so the 2018 crash, that's when you probably don't want to necessarily be staked fully. When you're in good times, it's okay. When you go into bad times, you've got to be a little bit worried about it. That's just my personal opinion. Good luck. Obviously, you've got to make your own decisions, and thank you for the support. Thanks so much, guys. We'll catch you later. Bye for now.